Now, what we are going to discuss today, now one method we discuss, collective agreement based remuneration system and performance based remuneration system. Now, banks like National Savings Bank, Bank of Ceylon, People's Bank, and some other banks, especially the government banks, their remunerations are based on, so they have a collective agreement based remuneration system. Now that means the uh, the the remuneration is determined by, apart from normal annual increment, their system determined by, but with the discussions or agreement between the trade union and the management for a fixed period, usually for 3 years. But then there are some private banks, usually in performance-based remuneration system, the remuneration is determined based on the individual or team job performance, right? So now with this, we are going to discuss with you all, if you really look at it, what is the advantages of performance-based remuneration system. Now, it is not in your handout, so write as an questions in a separate piece of paper or your notebook or your printed version. You can say like this. I will put it. There may be a possibility of questions on this area. uh, what are the advantages of, or what are the benefits to individual as well as for an organization, when the organization have a performance based remuneration system, right? So what are the advantages both to individual as well as to the organization, so if you are going for a performance based remuneration system, right? Okay, now I'm going to explain on that, right? What is the advantage and for organization as well as individual for a performance-based remuneration system. Okay, now you know what is performance remuneration system. Performance remuneration based remuneration system mean, in performance based remuneration system, remuneration is determined based on individual or team job performance of employees, either individual or team job performance of employees. That's the first point. Now, uh, now if you look at it another point, remuneration increase for all employees may be determined by the financial performance of the institution. Now, say for an example, your performance base, your performance of bank performance are improved. That means accordingly your performance, for your remuneration may be increased. So therefore, remuneration increase for all employees may be determined by financial performance of the institution, right? But whereas the collective based performance remuneration system, it is agreed for a particular period of time, usually 3 years, that they will discuss, or that will they develop the performance system. So what are the advantage of performance based remuneration system to an employee or for an individual? One, the first point, you know, it encourage what, right? It encourage the individual performance. It encourage individual to perform more. The more you performance, your remuneration increase. So therefore, one advantage for employee of performance based remuneration system, encourage individual performances. Once you achieve your target, you will be improve your remuneration. First one. And also, the second point also, now having a performance-based remuneration system, it encourage innovation. Second point, encourage innovation. Second point, encourage innovation. Third point, now if you put it point form, is more than enough, right? Third important point for having a performance-based remuneration system for a, basically for a individual. Now it improve customer relationships. It improve customer relationship, right? Uh, because if you are dealing with the same and customer relationship and public confidence. Why? Because you are trying to improve your customer relationship. Why you need to improve your customer relationship? Because now customer bring what? Sales to your organization or bank deposits or whatever you customer bring. Now if you don't have a better relationship with customer, what happened? The customer may leave the organization. So therefore, it will impact your individual performance. So therefore, in order to get more businesses from your existing customer, you try to develop more relationship with customer. So that is what banks need also to develop customer relationship, right? Having a performance-based remuneration system, therefore, improve the customer relationship and public confidence. Fourth point, and it's improve the contribution to the business and profits. Now, you going for a performance remuneration business system, so more the work you hard, it will increase your organization profits, and then you will get more reward. So therefore, performance-based remuneration system improve contribution to the business stock profits. There are 4 points. And also, fifth point, fifth important point for individual. Now, employee get to know his present performance levels. Now, because why? So your remuneration based on your performance level. So therefore, you get to know your present performance level also. How you are properly performs. Next one. Next point you can say, the fifth point you can say, now through the performance remuneration system, you can identify your strengths and weaknesses. So accordingly, you can adjust your weaknesses, right? Okay, so 5 points of benefit for performance-based remuneration system to your individual. For you, one, it's encourage individual performances, encourage innovations, contribution to the business profits, improve customer relations and public confidence. Then employee get to know his performance level and identify strengths and weaknesses of an individual. But having a performance-based remuneration system also benefited the organization as well. Now let's look at it how performance-based remuneration system benefiting organization. That means your bank, right? Now first, now promote that point 1, 2, 3 point, right? Promote result-focused culture and behavior. Now within your organization, within your bank, it create the result focused culture or result oriented culture, because everybody is working for a performance based remuneration system. So there is a culture developed for basically result focused culture and behavior. It's encouraged. Second point, right? And also less supervisions and less control. You didn't want to go behind you. The management don't want to go behind you, because why? If you work hard, your remuneration is high, right? Therefore, less supervisions and less control. Second point, right? What else? Now, some people are, in an organization willing to work hard. Now, the people who want or willing to work hard, they can earn more money. So therefore, now, this is facilitate to improve organization overall performances, right? It's improve organization overall performance, because everybody is working hard, right? Because their rewards depend on their performance. Everybody's work, ultimately organization improve their performance. Another important thing, right? Now, as I explained to you, because it's attract and retain people who expected to work hard for a higher return. So it will benefit, attract and retain people who expect to be rewarded for delivering results. Now for a bank, collective wage agreement, whether you work or not, you are getting the same compensation or remuneration. But here, so more you work hard, you will get the more result. So those are the benefits of performance-based remuneration system, individually and organization. Now the question examiner can ask from you like this. Okay, what are the advantages of performance-based remuneration system to you as an employee as well as for your employer? I think now you understood what are the advantages for you as well as for your organization. Okay, now having understood the good thing, also we need to understand the bad side of the performance remuneration system. Now let's look at some of the disadvantages of performance remuneration system. Right. Main disadvantage. Now, say suppose your performance was evaluated by the team effects, right? If you say your performance based on team effect, so then undermining the team working by focusing individual effect. So that's the important. Undermining the team working by focusing individual efforts, right? That's the one disadvantage, one weaknesses. What? Undermining the team working. ඒකට මේ team work කරන්න කැමති වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඇයි? ඔක්කොටම එක විදිහට හම්බ වෙනවනේ. Right? Individually හම්බ වෙන නිසා team working එක undermine. Second point, usually since your targets or your salary is based on your performances, what you're trying to do, you may concentrate or you may focus on short-term productivity gain rather than long-term strategic goals. You don't worry about the long-term, right? Survival. Why? Because you want to get your remuneration increase. So therefore, you are concentrate, you are more focused on short-term productivity gains rather than long-term strategy. Now, say if you want to customer, so you are look at it the short-term nature, right? Okay. Then the third disadvantage of performance-based remuneration system. Now, you may look at it more on a quantitative outputs, maybe expenses of quality, right? You always try to look at it, the quantitative aspects. By delivering the quantitative aspects, right? You look at it, the quantitative aspect, you may losing the qualitative aspects, right? That's another weaknesses or disadvantage of performance-based remuneration system, right? Another important thing, now we have discussed, if you have a performance-based remuneration system, there is a tendency to people to do what? What selling? There is a tendency people to do a
Misselling.
mis-selling, right? Clear calling, mis-selling. Why? Without telling everything to the customer, you only tell the good things about the products and services, right? Thereby you are misleading. Sometimes without disclosing all the information, you only try to sell the good things, right? So therefore, possibility of improving the mis-selling as a result of that, right? And also, yeah, when you try to improve your performances, right? What you try to do, there is a possibility of violating what? Internal control. So you may try to violate because you want more business. So therefore, possibility of violating internal control lead to financial frauds. It's another disadvantage, right? And also remember another important thing. Now, then sometimes we discuss as an advantage, it will create a culture, the result-oriented culture as an advantage of performance remuneration system. You create a result-oriented culture. But again, that also you can consider as a negative aspect. Now, having a performance-based remuneration system, it will create a culture where employee expect, expected to be rewarded for everything. මොනවා salute, something like you want to do it free of charge for organization. Whatever you do, you expecting some sort of a reward because you are going for that culture. That's a disadvantage. Then there is another important area. Now, the moment you develop new products, so it's okay. If you want to come earn more income, so you may come up with novel ideas. Now we discuss advantage, innovative ideas. Sometimes these new product and services, right? And they come up with introducing more risky products. Now, risky products like asset-backed securities. ABS, can you remember we discussed complex? It is very difficult to understand the customer, but then those products will give you high return to you, right? High return to customer as well as to the employee, right? Right. That's another risk. More difficult or complex products will introduce. Now, you aware, I think you may learn under survey, one of the reason of financial, uh, what you call financial crisis, which took place in 2008. Can one of you all can tell me what are the reason for 2007 to, I think you may learn under survey, right? What are the reason for financial crisis to took place in the world in year 2728? Kalinga, give me one reason.
Subprime mortgages.
Uh-uh. Mortgages,
Subprime.
subprime. That means you are selling a loans to a subprime. Prime mean good customers, sub mean bad customers. You are giving without evaluating the customers properly, so you are giving loans. Okay, correct. One reason is that. Okay, what are the other reasons? Can anybody support? Okay, so but calling what you said is okay. There's another reason. Now, during this time, all banks are moving for, this is one reason, right? Moving for performance-based remuneration system. During this 2008, 7, 8 period, the finance companies or financial institutions or banks have practiced performance-based remuneration system in USA and a lot of other countries. So as a result, what happened? They try to develop more innovative, more sophisticated, high risk product like asset backed securities. Right? Now, if you are selling goods to subprime customers, so there may be a people not paying back your loan is highly there. So as a result of that, what happened? People not pay back their loans. So because one thing is technological as well as the complex nature of the product. Because those innovative products cannot be understood by the customers, so they default. As a result of that, why they try to introduce new products, more innovative product? Because your salary or your performance based on your remuneration based on your performance. So in order to perform high, you come up with novel, more complex products to the customer. So one of the reason, right? Therefore, you can say is to because of this performance remuneration system. Now, as a result of that, what happened? It may leading to financial crisis, right? Okay. So you can say therefore performance remuneration performance-based remuneration system are having a good things as well as bad thing. Okay, understood now? Good and the bad thing. What are the good things? We discussed for an individual as for an organization. And what are the bad things? For introducing performance evaluation, performance-based remuneration system. Right? I think you now understood what is the performance-based remuneration system and what is collective-based performance remuneration system. What are the advantages and disadvantages? So you need to know about what are the advantage for individual and what are the advantage for organization by introducing performance-based remuneration system, and what are the some of the uh, disadvantages of performance remuneration system. Right. Now, when you're deciding, suppose sometimes the examiner may ask you, when you're discussing about the reward system, what are the factors and organization need to look at it when you come up with reward system for your organization, or maybe compensation package for your organization, your bank. What are the factors your management need to look at it when you're deciding a reward system for your bank? One point is reward should be related to performance indicator. So that's accepted. So there is must some sort of a link your performance with your reward. Second point, so the targets or standards you are giving to customer, giving to your employee must be mutually agreed upon. Right now, say you your performance based on your targets. Now, these targets to be mutually agreed by both the employer and the employee. Right? Otherwise, the employer will tell you, okay, this is my target you need to achieve, which never happened. So it is to be accepted by the employee. So these are some of the factors you need to look at it when you're designing a reward system for your organization. Right? And also remember the methodology of calculations of your remuneration must be easily understandable to everybody. It's not be a very complex process, right? So therefore, applications and calculation of reward system is must be a transparent and everybody can easily see, right? Everybody must be easily seen. Okay, if you work like this is my remuneration, right? And also remember that worthwhile also remember now that package also must be something worthwhile for your performances, right? Sadharana window, right? Unlike I can. So these are the factors you need to look at it when you're deciding your performance remuneration system, right? Okay, so that's a very examiner's interesting questionable area. What are the advantages and disadvantages of performance remuneration system, and what are the disadvantages of performance remuneration system? I add some more points here again where it is not in your handout. Okay, if I ask you from you all, why employees underperform? Can anybody contribute to me? Why employees underperform? Now, like you are requested to perform certain standard, but some people are not basically perform well. Oh, why they are underperform? What are the reason? Can anyone tell me what are the reason for employed for underperform? Right, Achala? Achala, can you give me one point here? Right, why people are underperform? Huh? Lack of incentives. Okay, good. Okay, lack of motivations. Good. And sometimes uh, you don't have enough training and development. So what the training you got is not enough. Then maybe unrealistic targets given by the management, right? Or maybe some personal reasons also, right? So likewise, there may be many reasons. You can think lack of motivation, inappropriate attitudes. Sometimes they have given you the wrong job, and your job descriptions is not clear. There may be a role ambiguity, right? You are not get enough adequate training to you to perform your job. There are many reasons why some people are okay, lack of incentive, some of people are underperform, right? So with this, I think we learn about the reward management very in details, right? Clear? Right. Now, let me moving to now the next one, what you call the job evaluation. Right. That's one time there's a one question in your exam about the job evaluation. Right. Now, let me explain to you what is job evaluation. Right. Job evaluation is a systematic way of determining. Now, what is they are going to systematically determining? The value or worth of the job in relation to other jobs in an organization. So job evaluation means it is not going to evaluate you. You are going to evaluate the job you are performing when you are compared with other jobs. Now say for example, in a bank, what are the jobs you will see? You have a banking assistant, right? Or maybe junior assistant, you have a vice president or senior vice presidents, or you may have a chief manager, senior manager, then you have a AGM, DGM. So these are jobs, right? So you look at it, the value of each job. Now you look at it, AGM and DGM for an example, and look at it, AGM and banking assistant, right? And that is you are going to value systematic way of determine the value. Why it is important? Because of the job valuation, or it tries to make a systematic comparison between jobs to assess what assets your pay structure. So therefore, job evaluation, remember, ensure the base pay possesses an adequate degree of internal equity, right? So that means, so job evaluation simply try to evaluate your payments or your salary structure or your reward or maybe your pay structure, right? Okay, now you know why we do a job evaluation to determine your salary, right? So what are the methods available for job evaluation? Right now, you know the job evaluation, of course, you need to start it with the words job analysis, right? What are the methods? So we are going to learn very basically three methods you are going to evaluate. First one is the ranking method. Second one is the classification method. Third one is the factor comparison method. Right. Now let look at it very simple way. What is the ranking method? Our ranking method is a very simple method of job evaluation. Now under this method, your jobs are arranged from highest to lowest in order to in order of their value or merit to the organization. Now, say for an example, you take from DGM, Deputy General Manager, to banking assistant. So that is the way of you are classifying, right? So that is the ranking method, rank, right? Under this method, jobs are arranged from highest to lowest in order of their value or merit to the organization. So the top of the jobs will take the highest value. So therefore, you get the higher salary, where it's come to the banking assistant. So bottom will take the lowest value. So therefore, your salary is changed accordingly. So then what is the method you are using? Job ranking. the ranking method from DGM to banking assistant. So DGMs are high value, so therefore you are getting the higher payments or remunerations, and the down you get the lower methods, right? That's the first method. Then you may have the classification method, right? Classification method, a predetermined number of job groups or job classes are established and jobs are assigned. Now the bank also have a system here. Now you say executives. Now some banks say DGMs, AGMs are special class, whereas then you have a class one, class two. Like now, say for banks, some government banks especially. Now they said senior manager, right? Senior manager, right? Then chief manager. Now chief manager is a class one. Then you have executives like that. Then again, certain jobs you can categorize based on the class: skilled worker, unskilled worker, semi-skilled worker, executive and non-executive, right? Or otherwise, now in for even for government job, you may classify as class one officer, class two officer. Now you see, when you're traveling in the uh, train also, you need class one, class two, like that. So accordingly, so your jobs can be categorized based on certain classification methods: executive, non-executive, skilled worker, semi-skilled, non-skilled, unskilled. So based on that, your salaries may be different. So that's the second method. Now, the third method is the more recognized method, and which is widely used today and to be one of the reliable systemic approach for job evaluation. Now, what is this they talk about? Now, they are assigning points are assigned to each factor after prioritizing each factor in order of performances. Now, say you identify your job, so that's a point, that is a factor, right? The responsibility factor, right? So you assign value points for that particular factor. Suppose certain activities, so you identify and then you put it in the prioritize, right? In your job, approval is one of the prioritization. For example, will you then, so there is a factor. So there are some points given to that factor. Likewise, you end of the day, based on what you are doing, you have a points table and you have certain factor, and certain points was given based on the importance of your factor. So then you end of the day, you say you do six jobs, five activities. So then you determine the finally you come the one figure, say X. So another set of people, you get the Y, total Y. Another set of employees, you get the Z. So therefore, now you have a three set of people in organization based on the factor as well as the points they allocated based on the importance. So you given marks and then you add it together. So people group you get X, some people get Y group, some people are get Z. So all the people who comes under the X group or X group are having a similar salary. The people who comes under the Y grade, they having a different salary structure. Third is Z grade, they are having a different strategy structure. So therefore, uh, that is of course of some comparatively better than any other jobs. So job evaluation. So what you need to know about the job evaluation? So job evaluation basically talk about the measurements of your salary structure or pay structure. So we learned three types of job evaluation methods. One is we call them as ranking method. Now you think about your bank, then you will remember that is the ranking from senior executive, from banking assistant to DJ. There's a rank, right? Second method we discuss about the grading, right? Executive, non-executive. Class 1, class 2, class 3, right? Okay. Accordingly, your salary is different. Third one is the more appropriated one, factor comparison method. So you identify the factor you do and assign marks. The important about your factor, they give the higher marks. So we said 10 people are there. So therefore, different doing different job. And then they allocated X, Y, Z persons, separate factor and allocate mark. Now, if the persons comes a X figure, all the people who get the X figure get the same one salary, and the group of people who get the B, Y, X, Y, so get the different salary. So that's the method of job evaluation, right? I think you may understand that is right. Okay. Now we are going to look at it another functions of human resource management, and that is the training and development. So this is an important area of in the bank. Actually, the training and development is basically some sort of a motivation tool. Now, I'll tell you why it is called them as a motivational tool, right? Okay, so it's an important functions of human resource management, right? So it is a duty because training and development in the bank usually considered as an investment. Remember, it is never considered as a cost. Cost mean once you incurred is finished, but your investment mean the more you invest, the return is continuously flowing. So therefore, you consider training and development as an investment, because where are you going to invest this money? Invest with people. So therefore, there is a motivation aspect and giving something back to your organization, right? Okay. Now again, if you look at it, why we need, why is training and development necessary? Why training and development is necessary? Right. Now you can draw seesaw. Now you can draw, there is a seesaw. එකක් මෙහෙම ඇඳ ගන්න seesaw එකක්. මැදින් මේකක් දාලා දෙපැත්ත දාන්න. මෙහෙම. So one side you can put, right, the competency required to perform your job. Right? If I draw this one, you can see it from here, right? I hope, right? Okay, I'll draw that one. See whether you can see it, right? It's like this. Okay, this is the competency you required for performing the job, right? Performing the job. Right. Now you require certain competency. What do you mean by competency? Certain knowledge, right? Certain skill, right? And knowledge, skill, and then attitudes, right? Attributes, all we call them as competencies, right? That is what you require to perform your job, right? But suppose you have your existing knowledge is this, your competency. Say here is A, here is B. So that is why, because you don't have adequate competency to perform your job. So that is why your seesaw is go like this, right? Okay. Now this is before training. Now what is training trying to do? Training is trying to balance this seesaw. Now this is A and this is B. How can you balance it? Right? You and C here, then A equal B plus C. Now what is C? This is your existing competency. your existing competency, your existing competency. What is C? That is training, right? Okay, now you have balanced it. Clear? If you draw this, the examiner, so what is here? So there is a gap, no? So that gap is called what? Competency gap, right? This gap is called the competency gap, right? So through the competency gap analysis, what you are trying to find it out. So what are the requirements? What are the competencies you need to fulfill your job properly? Clear? Right, Puta? Understood? Clear? Understood? Right? Okay? Clear? Kalinga? Okay? Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. So have you can see that diagram, no? I have drawn this one. Can you see this diagram, Puta? Right? No? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
All right. Can you draw that? Give the clear picture. Now, you need some sort of a competencies to perform your job, but you don't have that job. Now it's like this. That's a seesaw. So how can you balance it? You can add some more. What? Add some more value to this. So what is the value you are adding? Is training, right? Okay. So I think now you understood why training and uh, development is necessary. Having identified the required competence is what you call the competency gap, right? Okay, that is the competency gap. Then most of the time you learn something called, right? So competencies you need to carry out your job in an effective manner, right? Then you look at it. There is something here is missing, right? Okay. Now you noted that what is the difference between training and development? Most of the time, when we are talking, we talk about the training and development. Are they both the same or there is a differences? There is a differences. Now, training focuses is on the current job, but the development means focuses in on future and more challenging job. Now, we are make ready you to perform a more challenging job in the future. For now, even for to do that, still you have to give some sort of a learning through development, right? Then the training is usually limited to developing job-related knowledge, skills, attitudes, and technology. But as far as the development, there is not limited only to the job-related activity. So you need to know everything about what is happening, the not only for your job related knowledge, but other knowledge as well. Training may be temporary in nature, whereas development is more permanent in nature. Said usually the training is a short term. Why? Because it's given for your job, whereas development is more on a long term basis, right? So training provide your performance, your current job more better, whereas the development will ensure that you are enabling employees to perform a better future jobs as well, right? Okay, now if you look at it, you to be become a one day assistant general manager, chief manager like that. So what are the areas you need to develop? Development need to be given by the management. So that is the difference between employee training and development. Okay, sometimes still no question asked, but the examiner can ask from you what are the developments and training differences, right? Okay, then so training and development may be benefited, as we mentioned, like performance evaluation system, from the benefits of both ways. Now, the purposes of training and development, why it is important for an organization, and why training and development important for an employees. Now, let's look at it from the point of organization. Now, of course, if you have a more training and development, so you can improve your quality or services offered. And also you try to improve your quantity, increase the productivity, and through reducing the wastage, then you may reduce the cost. Unnecessary you go for accidents, right? And you don't want to have a supervision much, right? And also training and development can be used as a motivation to employees, right? Like that. So there are some advantages to organization training and development. Same way, there is an advantage for the employees. Now, through training and development, you develop new skills and knowledge. So you have a confidence to you do your job properly, and there's a chance of you to getting promoted. And if you perform well, you will be rewarded, and your job security is there. Why? Because you are doing a good job, and also improve the motivations and job satisfaction. So therefore, training and development may be benefited from both bank as well as the employees. Okay, right? Okay, then what are the methods of employee development? How can you develop an employee? One way is you can use training methods. You can use training methods to develop employee. It may be face-to-face courses, maybe open learning courses, maybe reading manuals, rule books and guidelines. So like you may have what you call uh, manual instructions, operation manual operation instruction, right? And today a lot of people are using e-learning, right, through webinars and things like that. And job swaps. What do you mean by the job swap? Job rotations, right? And second months, you were put it to temporary to do the job in another division. So these are some of the training methods you can use to improve your development. And then also you can use it some coaching. Now it's like now say cricket coach, football coach. Now one person will tell you imperative for the new initiatives, and they will tell you what to do and how to do, how to play a shots, things like that. It's a coaching aspect, right? Sometimes there may be a mentoring also. Now there's a one person will improve your morale, so you are good, but you may have some personal problem, right? So somebody want to get out your capabilities from your present performances. Somebody needs to listen to you, right? And therefore, through that they identify the problem, they try to sort it out his mental issue, so psychological aspect, and bring the physical aspects out of that, right? That is what you call the mentoring. So some banks will have a mentors, right? Some large banks, they have the mentors because a lot of organizations employees realize they are under some sort of a conflict situation, or some sort of a job stress, right? So because of that, they are not performing well. So therefore, it is our duty to, right, bring them out from the crisis situation. So that is what you call the mentoring program. So that's an important area you need to do, right? Okay. So then you also, third one is what in learning. Now, learning is a process of progressive behavior adaptation. So, what is the difference between learning and training? If somebody asks from you, what is the difference between learning and training? Now, all are look like same. Remember, the learning is much more permanent in nature. So once you learn something, right, it will remember your mindset. But if you get training, it may be, you forget. So the learning is something you're going to change or permanently reside in your memory. So learning is can be usually taken by experiences. Now I will tell you something. Now you are in the class. You are doing the mathematics. You are in the mathematics class. Now what I am doing? I am teaching you to sort out the mathematical problem. What I am doing? I am teaching for you to solve this mathematical problem. Now you will recall, you will have a idea about what I have taught you, and you use my teaching and to sort out this problem. And sometimes you may be listening, but then you are actually doing the mathematics solution. Not only one solution, you are going to do a similar questions what I explained to you. Maybe 5, 7 questions which are in the similar nature. But I taught you only one question. So you are trying to do a 3, 7, 8, 9 similar questions. What is you are getting? Now you are getting the experience and practices. So therefore, it is learning. Now that is what we are telling you all. You try to answer more questions, then it will not easily forget, right? So that is what you call the learning is a process of progressive behavior adaptation, right? Understood now? I hope you understood. So the difference between training and learning. So we learn what is training, and then we learn what is development, and now you know what is learning and what is training, right? So which one you think is a better one is the learning, right? Now elbowed, what are you doing there? Elbowed learning school. කාර්යක පදවන්න ඔයාට උගන්වනවා. දැන් මම මෙහෙම ඉඳන් කියනවා මෙහෙම තමයි යන්න ඕනේ, ගියර් එක මෙහෙම දාන්න ඕනේ, මෙතන පා ගන්න ඕනේ, මෙතන ඇක්සලරේටර් ගන්න ඕනේ. So these are teaching. But learning is something you do it yourself. You get the more experience. Right? Now you know the difference between learning and training. Right. So there, what are the methods available for you to train people? There are a lot of methods available. One method is, as explained to you, is on-the-job training. Now, on-the-job training, now once you go for your immediate training, that is induction. Can you remember induction? It is the immediate training you are getting. We call them as induction or orientations, right? The moment you get the orientation, usually you put into the counter, right? What you are getting on the job training. right? ඉතින් අපි ඔය එතනට දාලා කියනවා මම මෙතනට දැම්මේ ඔයගොල්ලෝම account එකට දැම්මේ on the job training. ප්‍රායෝගිකව ඉගෙන ගන්න. Good. Right. Then job rotation. So we discuss about the job rotations also. So it is a job design technique. So you know the job rotation. So you get some new skills, knowledge about your jobs. It may be sometime case study, analyze, program instructions, skill building, behavior. What there are different methods of training, but you don't want to know all this training. And critical incident method, lecture methods, coaching, understudy, assignments, right? There are methods of training, so I don't think they will ask you, but you need to remember some sort of a training. So then you must have the what is the training cycle or what is systematic training process. Right now, say if you are joined as a training manager in your bank, so you was requested to conduct a training program, right? Okay, now you need to know what is systematic training process. Now, first of all, you need to identify what are the training needs of your employees. Now for that, we have a different methods now. There are a lot of new organization. They have their, you need to decide your own requirement. Now performance appraisal, remember, but we have learned also facilitate to identify the training needs. Or your manager identify your training needs, or you yourself identify what are the type of training you require, or your subordinates or your manager will think, okay, these are the areas you are weak, so therefore I must give you a training. So first, any training process, what you need to identify the training needs. So not only identify the training needs, right? So you need to identify what are the prioritized training needs. You need to prioritize your training needs. What are the quickly you need? Then you try to establish what are the objectives of training. So after completion of this training program, what are you intended to achieve? Right. Then you need to look at it, the training evaluation criteria. Right. What are the training evaluation criteria? Right. There are sometimes you look at the 4 levels. Reactions level, where you ask from the trainees whether you satisfy or learn something or like that. That is the reaction. Learning level mean you are trying to apply what you have learned under training in the real life situation. So that is learning. Then the behavioral level, so you really behave in a different way. Suppose you have gone for positive thinking training program, but you are usually a negative thinker. Right? So therefore, manager identify you. You are a negative, attitude person, and you send for a positive attitude training program. So once you comes after the training program, now the boss is look at it you. Now we'll ask, Hare Sunil, come here. Can you do this? Yes, sir, we will do. Earlier, I don't think so. It's not good. I think it's a difficult task. But that is negative attitude. Now whatever. Now say you change your behavior. So that is the behavioral level. Right? So likewise, you can check the evaluations of your training program. Right? It is an important parameter in the training process. Now, so then you may take other related decisions, right? Things like that you implement. Okay, so that is the training process. You need to identify the training needs, you need to prioritize, you need to establish the objective, and you design your training program, and you do a evaluation. First you then the implementation, and you do the evaluation, right? So think about your bank, how your training programs or training process originated and conducted, right? Of course, the number one is training needs. Identify the training needs, training objective, and then you design a training program. When you design a training program, you need to look at it. So many factors. What is the type of training? Whether it is in-house, duration, who is going to do, what is the method you're going to give, right? It's a 1 day course, 2 day course, in-house course, right? Like that, you need to look at it, right? What is the method you're going to use? Is an it is an the method you're going to use a discussion, case study, like the visual presentation, role playing, like that. And then once you have completed the program, you need to look at it the whether it's a successful or not. So that you need to evaluate, right? And also remember, when you look at it, the training cycle or training process, always also you need to look at the budget as well. Because training is, I told you, is an investment. For that, it's a need money. So what is the budget for conducting this training program? So all factors you need to take into account when you're deciding the training, right? So I think you learn about the training as well, right? So another important area where you are going to learn under human resource management, health and safety, right? Health and safety about the employees. Right now, up to now, have you understood? Right? Do we have extra classes? Oh, but what is that? Can you put that? Somebody has put a note here. 1 minute, I look at it. Do we have extra classes on this Tuesday or Wednesday? No, Puta. So I don't want to have a more extra classes. So I want to tell you, maybe another 2 weeks time maximum. I mean, definitely, we are going to cover 31st October. We are going to wind up my session. That it fully covered, right? I have another small area. Once I complete the HR, there's a small confidentiality area. So that's a small area. So we going to cover. Okay, Achala, try. No classes for me on this week. God, I want to make you a fully free bird person, right? Most probably our exam may going to happen somewhere in early January. Seem to be look like, and my revision class may be happening in little mid-November. I think I have already communicated to you. I'm the revision where we're going to discuss a lot of question and answers. We are going to have it somewhere in mid-November. Of course, the communication will come from IBSL. Of course, not daytime. It is from you got the timetable. Fantastic. Thank you, Achala. I also don't know. I think in the night, 8 to 10. Either. Well, so I don't have a time during the weekdays, right? Weekends. I have occupied with other lectures. So therefore, I have no time for allocate for full 1 day for lectures, right? So I will select that. I think that's also good rather than lecturing everything in the same day. 8 to 10. So anyhow, you are going to sleep, no? Right. So thank you very much, Sachala, sharing that information with me. I also takes a copy of this, right? Very good. And so we will have it on. Okay, thank you. So if you are joined, I don't know about the fees and all. You have to check for my IBSL. Are there any charge? They are charging from you all or free of charge? I don't know, right? Anyhow, so we will do a lot of question and answers, all the past papers and some more. 2500 වැඩිද වැඩිද අඩුද ආචර ගාන වැඩිද? Right, I don't know, it's not me who decide, right? Okay, right, next one we are going to discuss about the health and safety, another important area. Now, HR also need to look at it, the employee health and safety. Now, what do you mean by health? Health referring to the health refers generally physical, emotional, and mental well-being. Now, while you're working, right, you need to be work emotionally, mentally, and physically well-being. What is safety? Safety means freedom of danger and risk of working or protections of physical health of a people. Now, people are talking about ergonomics, right? If I don't have a time to just to put that slides. So when you're working in the counter or maybe in the working in for the computer, so there is a, the method of seating. Your what you call your shape of your um, share must be have a something will facilitate your backbone. Otherwise, you may come across with, right, your health issues after some time. So therefore, administrations of health and safety of an employee is and functions of human resource management. Now you see, and it is not only recruiting, not only training, not only evaluating performance and HR division, but also look after health and safety of the employees, right? So what happened otherwise? If you are not have proper health and safety mechanism, right? What happened? It may be have a occupational accidents, right? Then you may have occupational diseases. Then you may come across certain organizational stress, right? Because that is why health and management of health and safety play an important role in your organization. It will lead to you a lot of employee issues. As I explained to you, maybe occupational diseases, there may be occupational accidents, right? And maybe organizational stress and all. Then it is impacting both ways. How it impact the both ways? One way, what are the consequences if you are not maintaining health and safety in an organization? So results high absenteeism, high turnover, job dissatisfaction, then low productivity, low job involvement, maybe accident, maybe also you need to pay compensation, right? All are cost to the organization. Now say something, you may have an occupational accident. So one thing, you need to pay the compensation. Second, you need to give the granted due pay. So then what is the cost? Granting you pay and your job requested to somebody to do it. Or otherwise you need to take from somebody from outside to do your job. It is an extra burden to organization. If you look after well, so you don't want to pay those things. And it may be impact your reputation also. So therefore, remember the remuneration, health and safety is play an important role. That is why the HR department also concerned about your health and safety. Now we have a medical scheme. Now these days, this play an important role. Now that is why sometimes there may be a questions comes on this area, right? What are the actions taken by your human resource department, situations like that, right? First one, what is that? So you can think, right? It is not necessary for you to learn those things to answer, right? Now think there's a question something come about the health and safety, right? Now look at it. I will I will open up your minds to look at it, answer questions, something I cannot basically teach you all, right? Okay, one is how we address this issue. One is work at home, or maybe hybrid. Some days you are coming, some days not you are coming. Or sometimes you're working at home. Then you need to look at it, are you having that facility? When you are working at home, then what is the issue about the cyber security aspects, right? But while you are maintaining your health and safety, so how HR people will attend to that? Okay. Then the second was you may have now lot of banks, right? Lot of banks have a lot of facilities. Now say so you get to know somebody will get the COVID-19. You know what happened? The panic, the other all the employees. So what they do? They will sponsor all the employees of that branch or that division tested PCR, right? So at least now you are comfortable, right? That's another point. Suppose you have suffered from COVID, so banks have organized places, right? Hotels, hospital, they book. So anybody who have got, they will put into that covered hotel or hospital or whatever. From your look after your employees. And you may also have safety mechanisms, provide adequate, masks was given, sanitary equipment was given, right? Provide that facility for you to, and also sometimes some important like that. This is an important thing, right? And also it will facilitate for you to look after your employees. There some important points they will put into a separate place. You are not asked to come from home. Now say some critical places, they was hired a maybe house, and all the people has to be there. So they can't move here and there. Send the vehicle, get into the vehicle, come to office, right? Go to that boarding house or lodging place, there, come back like that. So you are not exposed to, in that case, for anybody. So this is another arrangement, right? This is another arrangement. Clear, right? So there may be a lot of arrangement like that, especially this COVID-19. So therefore, HR department maybe sometimes may have to do something in order to health and safety. Because all matters now, your physical, emotional, mental well-being has to be there. You comfortably work, you need to be aware that I won't get any infection from anybody, right? So these are some of the initiatives taken by your HR department, of course with the consultation with other departments, right? So you see these days that healthy and safetyness, how important for employees. So if there is any question, they can ask question on that area, right? When you are dealing with front office customers, what bank has done it? A lot of bank has done it. What have I in front of you all? Earlier we have a one-to-one discussion. So your table is here. So you are sitting in front of you. Now what happened? After this, there is a barrier there. Then you may have a glass barrier, or maybe you have a polythene barrier. All have done reason, and you was permitted people to come inside, right? Okay, and also some banks have given some incentives or some special offer the people who are working in front office, right? So these are some of the initiatives taken by a bank, right, to look after your staff, right? Health and safety. Okay, so there may be a possibility of asking, because those are the really things something happened, but because health and safety management or administrations of health and safety is the one functions of human resource management, right? So therefore, it is a duty for your organization to address these things. Okay, right. Then you move into discipline management, right? Discipline management. Now, what is discipline? Discipline mean you when you come to a bank or work, so you need to behave. You have to stick to your code of conduct, right? And all discipline managements, all the activities are there. Employees to influencing organizations to achieve their objectives. So you like we learn about the compliances. As an employee, also need to comply certain established rules and regulation, which is basically explained in your code of conduct, right? So that is basically we call discipline. So importance of discipline. Why uh, discipline is important? Sometimes the discipline is important to reduce the conflicts and confusions, right? So disciplines are important to reduce the conflict and confusion. Also, you must have a discipline to achieve the organizational objectives. And also, sometimes you need discipline to ensure that employees behave in accordance with the performance standard, rules, regulations of the organization. And thereby it making an organization efficient and effective. And also it facilitates the industrial peace. What do you mean by industrial peace? Industrial peace means it's a tri-party arrangement. It has to be union, management, and the government. Right? Okay, we will touch on that later on. So therefore, you noted that, right? So therefore, employee discipline management, and it is an essential for healthy industrial atmosphere. Now, certain discipline management may be legally bounded, right? So, if you have a disciplinary, basically, it promotes your self-discipline, right? Okay. Then again, we need to look at it. Importance of discipline. There are two types. There are two. There are two types of offenses. One is serious, other one is non-serious. Now remember, all these things you need to know. Serious offense and non-serious offense. Now tell me, What are the serious offense? Can anybody tell me what are the serious offense in your organization? Right? Can anybody tell me? Kalinga or Divya? So Dilukshi, what is a serious offense? Some, because of the offense, you may be interdict immediately based on your disciplinary procedure. What is a serious offense? Right? What is a serious offense? Vishamachara Kriyavaliya. Any of you have not got any letter from your HR department conducting your behavior in a serious offense? Give me an example for serious offense. I'm just telling you these things good for you all. Right? Now, example. Now your manager, your boss, maybe not good terms with you. And he was asked to do certain activity where it is there in your JD, job description. Or with it, that is within the limit of his authority as a manager, if you work in a branch. So he asks you to do something like some activity, some functions. You say, no, I can't do. What is that? It is insubordinates. So it is a serious offense. You can't say, I not do it. ඒකනේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඔය බොසා කියන නැත්තම් මැනේජර් කියනවා අයියෝ රෑ වෙලා හරි කර කර ඉවර කරලා යන්නේ ඒකනේ නේද? Right? Because you know the repercussions, right? That's a serious offense. Now, there's a girl or boy next to you, always having some agitation with you. වලියටමයි බර. දවසක කවුන්ට් එක එහෙම වහලා හොඳේ කවුන්ට් එක ඔක්කොම bank is closed, right? You get mad. ගත්ත හැපැත්ත ඉන්න සුරංගිගේ ඔළුව කොණ්ඩේ අල්ලලා කරකොලා ගැහුවා ඔයා. කවුද ගැහුවේ? දෙවුනි ගැහුවා, ඔළුව ගැහුවා විත්තියේ. What is that offense? That also serious offense. ගහන්න ඕන නම් එළියට ගිහිල්ලා ගහන්න ඕනේ. ඇක්චුලි ගහගත්තොත් පුතෝ serious offense. තේරුණා නේද? ඒකෙන් මම කියන්නේ මේ එළිය ගිහිල්ලා ගහන්න කියලා. But that's the fact. Okay, it's a serious offense. Now your security guy, night watcher, is sleeping in the night. What is that? That also serious offense. Because he is supposed to wake up in the night. He's a watcher. If you are asleep, serious offense. Right? I'm just telling you some of the offense. Now, you come to work. You're supposed to be there at office, your work, 8 o'clock in the morning. 8 o'clock in the morning. Right? Then sometimes you are traveling from little far away, so therefore sometimes you get late. So occasionally you may get late to come to office. So you have taken your normal short leave or whatever you supposed to take. It is a serious offense or non-serious offense. Can anybody tell me? Now you think, Achala, you are coming to office not occasionally, maybe for a month, maybe 2 times. You come little late to office. It is of course it is, you are not supposed to come. Then that is why we have 8 o'clock, no? Then you can come every day at 8:15. But then and there, you may come around 8:15. Whether it is offense or not, first of all. Chala, it is offense or not? You used to come sometime.
Offense.
Huh?
Offense.
Offense. But it is a serious or non-serious?
I think it's non-serious.
Not serious, but that doesn't mean you have to come every day 8:10, right? Right. Suppose you come every day 8:15 or 8:10, what is that of a offense? It is a serious offense. If anybody comes to work every day late or beyond the normal practices, it is a serious offense. Right? So therefore you need to understand what are the serious and what are the non-serious offense. I think in your induction program, usually your HR guy who comes to address will discuss all these things, your bank practices. Now in your handout, I think they put it in the wrong way. A verbal warning, it should be, it's a non-serious, right? Okay, you have to put it the other round. Right. So factors that affect the determining the severity and non-severity, maybe look at it, nature of the offense, number of previous offenses. We look at it. Kali me wage වැරදි කරලා තියෙනවා. Right? Then period of services. Right? Some other factors may take into account. Right? So whatever the areas, sometimes the management will take some, but make demotion or dismissal can be taken place for serious cases, right? This is first you usually get the verbal warning, written warning, and then you go for dismissal and demotion. Right.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Forgery comes under which category?
What Putha?
Forgery comes under which category?
Forgery, of course, serious. Whatever the fraud, whatever the amount, even for 5 rupee, you think the fraud, right, it goes under serious. Because as a bank employee, you are not supposed to do forge at anything, right? It is a serious offense, right? There's no excuse for that. If you're guilty, so you can check from the bank. That is a very serious offense, right? Remember that. හිතේ පොඩ්ඩක් තියනවාද නෑනේ, don't do that. පොඩ්ඩක් පොඩි හොරකමක්වත් කරන්න යන්න එපා. So you are end of the day, right? Okay, so there is a procedure, the process of disciplinary process. Sometimes there is a question asking about the disciplinary process, right? Now usually whatever the offenses, right, the oral warning stage. Usually, so they give you a verbal warning, right, and explain, right, don't do that, right, if you're going to do this, I have to take some action against you. Then the first written warning, and then the first written warning you mentioned that as I give a several verbal warning to you, despite the fact of my several verbal is warning to you, you have still maybe not adhere to your bad practices or whatever, and then I'll give you in writing. Then third one also, if still you are doing the same thing, then you go for final written warning, right? And the last one is the misconduct stage, where you ask for the explanation and take some legal and maybe have some disciplinary inquiry procedure, disciplinary inquiries taking place, and then, right, so the management will take a decision accordingly. Now suppose based on that, without doing anything, your management sack you. There is some procedure to be followed. Then you file actions against the courts. The judges will look at it whether the organization follow this procedure. right? If they not follow the procedure, you are not guilty. Now, this is, of course, you may recall now these days about the Ratna Hamudro story about the parliament. Now, what they say, what they are telling is, I'm just telling unwanted thing, but it's a disciplinary thing. Now, because of Ratna Hamudro came from the party, not from the vote, right? So the Jana Bala or Jana something need to carry out certain procedure to be followed. Now they said, can you remember recently they said we send a request for, we asked from the priest give about his views, and he's not giving the views, and we said another one, and then they take the steps. Now, if the Ratnahamdaros go for law or court action, the court will look at it whether this particular party has taken the proper actions, procedure, and then they will take the judgment. Likewise, employees also the same. So therefore, HR, when you want to sack some fellow, they need to follow procedure, right? Have to dismiss. But you can, if you found it fraud, you can immediately sack and then carry out the investigation. That there's a possibility there. That is based on your severity of your offense. Right? Okay. Right. Now, I just tried to explain some famous case on this. There we call them as red hot stove. Rattu Uduna Niyai is very important thing as far as the disciplinary action is concerned. We call them as Rattu Uduna Niyai. Right? What is that? Rattu Uduna Niyai. In English, we call them as red hot stove. S-T-O-V-E. Right. Now it's give you a lot of things. Then on Udunak Tina Rattela. That stove is very much hot. Right? I am the manager. I am the AGM. HR AGM. Right? I am doing something wrong activity in the bank. But I am the HR manager. Because of I am HR manager, I am going to get the same punishment. Same action. Right. That Red House stove talking about this. Now, the person, if you're going to put the finger into the hands into the hot stove, what happened? The Rattu Udunagata, Ata Damot Mokada Vindi. May Hari Lassana concept take up me. Udunagata Ata Damot Mokada Vindi. Ata Picheno. Eka Oyadam Picheno, HR manager දැම්මත් පිච්චෙනවා, AGM දැම්මත් පිච්චෙනවා. එහෙනම් දඬුවම හැමෝටම එකයි. එතකොට උදුනේ තියෙන රත්නේ තියෙන ස්වභාවය අනුව උදුන ටිකක් නම් රත් වෙලා තින්නේ අත දාපුවම පිච්චෙන ප්‍රමාණය අඩුයි. උදුන හුඟක් රත් වෙලා තියෙනවා නම් පිච්චෙන ප්‍රමාණය මොකද වෙන්නේ? වැඩි. So that is the red dove concept we call in HR. Right? The disciplinary actions, whoever, okay, one asks if the interdictions take place when, right, there's a question asked, I will see with that one. Okay. Where is that? If is the interdictions take place when the serious offense happen? Yeah. Because usually, if a serious offense, usually bank, what they do, they was interdict. They were not supposed to come. And then they carried out the investigation. Right? Because once he was here, right? ඒකනේ ඔය අපි දඩුවලට කියන්නේම නිදහස දෙන්න එපා මෙයාව බේල් එක කරන්න බෙයා බේල් එකෙන් එළියට આવොත් අර පිටිකා මේ මොකක් සාක්ෂිකරුවන්ට බලපෑම් ඇති කරයි අරව මේව කියලා එයා බේල් කරන්න කියන්නේ ඒකනේ. ඒ වගේ තමයි bank will immediately interdict. Then you do the immediate inquiry, right? Okay, so now you know the concept of red hot stove, right? So that red hot concept play an important role in HR as far as the disciplinary is concerned, right? Okay, so now another important area now we are moving to. So the LMR, that is what you call labor management relationship. Now there are three parties for LMR framework, right? So you look at it, there are three parties for labor management relationship. One, the employer. If you put in if you're putting in the triangle, right? If you put in the triangle, one corner is the employer. Other corner may be employee or union, the represented union, employee union. Other side is government. There are three parties. There are three parties. Now, these three parties have their own objectives. So these three parties have three objectives. Now, let's look at what are the employees' objectives. Look at what are the employees' objectives. So every time the employees try to get the maximum out from the employee, try to reduce the cost as possible, right? And always try to maximize profitability. Want to improve their reputation, and always request from trade unions to support their business activities. That is the employer. Look at it. That is their objectives. So then let's look at what are the employees' objectives. Employees always look at it, their job security. Get the maximum is earning. That means improve the more packages, salary, comfort work environment, like that. And what the employees always look at it, smoothly functioning his job. That is the employee's objective. And there's another part is the government. What is government? Expectation. Government won't want to have any issues between employer and the employee. So the moment you have the employer-employee issues, what happens? There may be sometimes the government need to be interfere, and also sometimes not good for government. Now, some of the issues you can understand, right? So government want to have a smooth, better relationship between all these three parties. Suppose all are smoothly functioning. Government will look after them, union will look after them, and employer maybe look after them. So if you have a better relationship, we call them as what? The industrial peace. Karmika samaya kiyanne onne okatයි. Industrial peace. So if you have a better relationship between management, government, and the employee. So if you have a better relationship, we call them as a word we call industrial peace. So therefore everybody must respect each other's job objectives, and each one must support each other's dignity, and it must have a continuation relationship. So labor relations therefore refers to a continuous relationship between labor management of an organization. So that of course promote industrial peace, industrial democracy, improve organizational productivity, and is a cordial relationship with the unions and things like that, right? So every organization therefore try to look at what these type of relationships. Okay, I think you understood that part, right? Okay, then we talk about the trade unions. Now you know the banks also have a some sort of a strong trade unions, right? Usually the banks, they have the usually better or powerful unions. Actually, it is a formal organization. Now, if you have a required number of employees, so management need to identify trade union as a formal organization. Suppose certain trade unions are not having required membership. So therefore, you cannot, not necessary to identify them as a formal organization, right? So why trade union are there? Basically to protect their members and well-being of their members. So therefore, the good trade unions have a different characteristics or advantages. What are the advantages or what are the objectives they also looking after, they need to be looked after their employees, their employees' salaries, their employees' welfare activities, and protect employees from some illegal actions taken by management. Improve the health and safety of employees. And remember, most of the time people are thinking because the trade union only look after their membership. No. The trade union, one of the another important objective is to look after the organization as well. Right? So they have, because they have to take the responsibility to organization to run smoothly. Now trade union cannot come, suppose, now good example, I think there is a question on that. There is a fraud took place in a particular branch, bank, fraud took place. It is an obvious that that's a real fraud. Can trade union behalf of to safeguard that person? No. As provided that he has done job, even though he is a member of the organization of his trade union, but trade union cannot take actions against that. Because that is fraud. Because trade union need to be look after the organization. Right? That you need to understand. Okay, right. So, next one. Why employees are joint trade unions? What is the reason why employees are joining trade union. One factor, suppose employees having a lot of problems, maybe grievances, maybe those grievances may be personal or maybe beyond personal. But then the management not sorted out this problem, employee may join trade union to try to sort it out this problem. So therefore, employees join trade unions if the management is not handling the grievances. Now that is why every bank must have a grievance handling procedure established. Right? Some people are, I think, they are unakira again. They took look after the interests of the common objective. They joined the union because if you come for a union, it's more powerful than working alone. Then there may be a political ideological affiliation. Now, say for an example, you are a strong party member of Podu Peramuna, or maybe you are a strong member of UNP. Suppose if you are a strong member of JVP, like that, or maybe SLFE. That is your personal. So therefore, once you come to the working situation, so you make use of your political ideological affiliation, right, and join certain trade unions. Right? That is your political ideological affiliation. Or some employees may be dissatisfaction with the terms and conditions of employment. You try to find out some sort of relief from joining trade union. And some people are, right, they're not doing their job properly. They get to know anyhow they are going to have some sort of a inquiry or administrative or disciplinary actions against that person. Before he take these disciplinary actions, he may join trade union. To what? To protect themselves from victimization. Those are bad guys. Right? So there are many reasons why employees are joining trade union. Okay? Right. So I will stop from here. Then we need to understand some areas where there are EPF, ETF tests, and then we are going to discuss about grievances handling, and we will discuss in next 2 weeks, and maybe final day I may discuss some important 2-3 questions, right? Thereby on 31st October. So that is last day of our session. Okay, right? Any questions? Any questions you need to ask? Okay, no questions? You want to ask any questions? Now I think you are well thorough with the subjects, right? I hope you can ask any question. Can you? Right? Divya, can you answer any question? Naomi? Right? Okay. Mahima, already gone. Right. Okay. So we'll see you on next Sunday, same times, and we'll try to finish. And we have a small areas to be covered under confidentiality management. That's I can cover within 1 hour, right? Okay. So have a nice weekend and see you next week.